get a warning that the recording will be starting, which it has now. Okay, well, welcome everyone to today's session. It's a great pleasure to welcome Gillian Pearl, the CEO of Pearl Consulting, who I'll be handing over to in a moment. Gillian has 20 plus years experience in strategic planning. She's the founder and CEO of Pearl Consulting. She is originally from Canada and she now lives in Sydney, so you will detect a Canadian accent. Thank you, Gillian, for your time, and we're looking forward to today's presentation.
Great. Thanks so much, Cheryl, and thanks for having me. So thanks everyone for joining. Today we're going to spend the next 30 minutes talking about LinkedIn and how we at Pearl Consulting have used LinkedIn really to build the business and continue to build the business. And, you know, what's very central to Pearl Consulting, so we're a social impact consultancy, and we've got team members across Asia Pacific, Latin America, and Europe. And we work for the most part with multinationals and helping them do strategy and social impact programming and capability building. And we do a lot of cross-sector partnership work as well. So you can see a number of our clients who are listed here. And one of the things that's very essential to a lot of the work that we do is supporting women-owned businesses and women-led businesses. So, you know, I was talking to Cheryl and Minnie and said, why don't we do a session? Very happy to share what we've done at Pearl and really have a nice chat with the We Connect members to be able to share what we've done and some insights that we've gleaned, and hopefully that can help all of you. So we'll spend the next, it's a quick session, the next 27 minutes just talking about how we approach this work at Pearl. Thanks, Cam. So LinkedIn is really our key social media channel at Pearl Consulting, and the objectives for us in using this channel and using social media are listed here. We want to create a touch point for existing and future clients so that they can learn more about Pearl. Now, we have a website, but we don't update our website nearly as often as we post content on our Pearl Consulting page on LinkedIn. So we really use LinkedIn for that much more current profiling of our work, our people, and what have you. We use LinkedIn to maintain thought leadership. So it's important to us to demonstrate that we know what we're talking about and that we have experts on our team. So as a consulting business, that's super important to our business and to the services we offer. And then thirdly, we use the channel to market our services. So really demonstrating specifically what are the services that we provide and what is the work that we work on at Pearl. So we've defined our audience, and this is really important for all of you as you use any social media channel to be super clear on who you're trying to reach. So for us, it's the corporate clients, so corporate audience, government, and nonprofits. The majority of people on LinkedIn are from corporate, but there are many government users and nonprofits on LinkedIn as well. So really great for us that we've got all of our key audience members on this channel. And we're looking specifically for people who work in these areas of social impact, corporate affairs, in the thematic areas of social justice and technology, digital literacy, online safety, and particularly women's economic growth. And so our strategy on LinkedIn is really to build our presence, and we've been on LinkedIn for a number of years now. We want to build credibility for the business, and we want to engage people to generate leads and to attract and retain great talent. So we'll go to the next slide. Now, how do we approach the work? It's very important that you approach LinkedIn to get the most out of it, to approach it in a planned way, and to think clearly about what is it that you want to be posting and what are you going to be doing with your content. So we've developed an editorial calendar, and that calendar serves as a forcing function for us as our plan to ensure that our content maps to our objectives, and to make sure that we have a regular drumbeat of content that we're posting on LinkedIn. So the way we divide our content is into these 4 buckets. We call it Pearl Work, Pearl News, Impact, and Thought Leadership. So under work, that's where our goal is to really be having or posting 50% of our content focused on our work. So that can be showcasing our services, it can be client testimonials, case studies, media coverage, things like that. So that's what we consider showcasing our work. Then the other three buckets make up the balance, the other 50%, which is news. So maybe member spotlight, which feeds into attracting and retaining great talent, talking about, our colleagues and who they are and what they've done, team activities that we might do, speaking opportunities. Then we've got Pearl Impact, where we might talk about statistics around things that we've achieved, some of our certifications and activities, our giving programs, how we show up with our giving and community and what we do. And then lastly, thought leadership. So that's interviews, lectures, articles, and other thought pieces. So this is what we're posting on the Pearl page, but I also really engage with our business page from my personal LinkedIn profile as well. So it's very important that those two things are working together. So best time to post, there's a lot of research out there. What we tend to do is follow this guidance in general, which is in your own country, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., 12 to 6 or 3 to 6. This is based on HubSpot. We tend to aim for morning or lunchtime. We find that to be a pretty good time to be posting and to be engaging. And as far as HubSpot's research is concerned, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Tuesdays are the best days. Other research will tell you Tuesdays are the best. I mean, it depends what research you read, but generally it's those first few days of the week. And then again, many of you are already using LinkedIn actively, so you know this, but you can schedule your posts on LinkedIn so you don't have to be doing it. So if I'm traveling and I'm in another time zone, but I have an Australian piece of content that I really want to show up at midday Australia time, then I just use this feature. So when you launch your post, the bottom right-hand corner, you see a tiny little clock. If you click on that, then you can schedule your post from within LinkedIn. There are lots of tools out there that you can use to, manage all of your platforms. And many of you are probably using that as well. But if you want to manage the time from within LinkedIn, you go there. Okay, now what I want to do with the rest of the slides is really showcase samples of the content that fall into those 4 buckets that I mentioned and how we see getting engagement out of that content or how it's worked for us. So here's an example of showcasing our work or speaking with our clients at events. So I want to start by saying, for those of you who work with multinational organizations, it's very difficult to get case studies signed off by multinationals. So there are lots of things that you can do to still show yourself and your business showing up with your clients that clearly showcases the fact that you work with these clients, that they like you because they're agreeing to showcase the work you do together in a public environment. So this is an example of a speaking opportunity that we secured with our client, Goodman Foundation, and with another partner of theirs, Children's Ground. So this was at a conference that was held here in Sydney at the Impact Investment Summit. And Chris, who is the CEO of Goodman, and we're not able to do a case study at this time, but we're able to do a LinkedIn post talking about the conference, showcasing her and her partner, and talking about, being there. So Chris, you can see the comment on the right. So great to be there with you. Love the conversation we had, a discussion with the audience. So again, it's getting that commentary from your clients without having to go through a much more formal process of a case study that just might not be an option for them or for you. Another example of Pearl work, so where you are able to do a case study, it's wonderful to post it and then to be able to link it back to your website, and maybe you've got a sign-in page or contact information or what have you. So it's creating that virtuous loop of social media driving people to your website and then taking action from your website. Another example here is a piece of work that we finished with Danone. And we were able to get a testimonial here from one of the team members who worked on the project with us. So this was done in Brazil, hence the Portuguese testimonial. And we're able to post this with a wonderful picture of her and to be able to comment on one of our colleagues just talking about, the great work we did and tagging the client as well. And then coming back to say, it was really great to work with you. So, as you do these different posts and you're getting this engagement from your clients, again, it's just a really nice workaround for how you can showcase the work and how you can showcase who you're working with. So here, just another example, posting this beautiful photo of the guys here from Young Henry's, which is a beer company here in Australia, an alcohol company here in Australia, beverage company, and Richard commenting, "Thanks a lot," and us commenting back as the company. And then another example here, just again, back to the multinationals. So Moon was our client in Vietnam at Meta. So we had done a lot of work for Meta in Vietnam or across Asia Pacific, but this is Vietnam specifically. And this was one of the launch events where we were supporting her. And so again, commenting here as an individual, we're very proud of the work that we do with you, Moon, and we're so happy the launch went well. That's great. And then Moon coming back to comment, "Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure working with your team." So Moon in her capacity feels that she's able to make a comment like that, endorse us, endorse the quality of our work, again, without going through those formal channels. So the Pearl News, some examples here, and these always get great traction, and nice to see you here on the call, Chi. My colleague is here as well. Showcasing our wonderful colleagues and who they are, what they do, other work that they've done, where they come from. And this is always a really nice way to make your consultants or your colleagues feel great, and also to get traction because your colleagues are going to be sharing these posts with their network as well. And then another way about talking about partnerships. Oh, no, that's okay. Go ahead, Cam. Go to the next page. Yeah. Then an example here around impact. So when you gain a new certification or an award, we find that this is always really great content. People are thrilled to see people that they like winning awards and getting certifications. So we've recently recertified as B Corp, and our B Corp certification is very important to us. It's an independent verification that you meet certain environmental and social standards. So we're very happy to have not only got the recertification, but to be able to share it. And then that gets shared and that gets more traction. And then inevitably you get more followers and engagement. So the thought leadership piece. Now, we are in, a B2B industry where we're providing professional services. So for the area of work that we do, thought leadership is very important because it's important that people feel that we know what we're talking about and that others recognize us as having an opinion that can share knowledge, add value, what have you. So for us, being able to not only be invited to different events, but to speak at them and then to showcase them. And we had this wonderful event in the middle that We Connect does with Procter & Gamble around supporting women business owners. So being able to speak at events like this, showcase the work that you do, and then promote this, that for us is a very important activity and content to be posting. And then similarly, when we do training, same kind of thing on the right. So when we do training or capability building, we'll also showcase what that work looks like and promote it then through posts on LinkedIn. Some more examples here on thought leadership, whether it's podcasts that you can get yourself contributing to, or whether it's publishing articles both on LinkedIn or externally and referencing them on LinkedIn. Whether you're in a position to go talk to different schools, we were able to go lecture at Cambridge last year, which was a wonderful experience. So I pulled together a panel from our client and our team and others to go lecture over there in the UK. And so so that was great. And I think, again, why does this matter? When people are buying our services, they want to know that other people are buying our services, that we are recognized as knowing what we're talking about, and that we're recognized by organizations, institutions that they respect as well. So especially for B2B services, this is important, but no matter what you do, this kind of testimonials or promoting from this perspective is important. And then engaging your network and relevant accounts. So here on the left was an appointment of an old colleague of mine who had moved over to Workday. And so, staying engaged with your network and building your network, I mean, that's what LinkedIn is, right? So being very clear about why are you here, who do you want in your network, and how do you want to engage with them. Being able to comment on simple things like someone gets a promotion or joins a new company, commenting on things like that is really great. Especially when, I mean, Rich is an old friend, but especially when people are in a position where they are a critical decision maker at that company, or they are a budget owner for your services or your products. And then here, another example, this was the We Connect event that we just went to up in Brisbane, which was so much fun. And what you can't see in this post, but it's a little bit further down, is not only are we tagging We Connect, not only are we tagging Dave, who's in the picture in the top right from AWS, from Amazon Web Services, we also showcased a series of women-owned businesses who were at the event, who we met and who we learned about. So, the expression all boats rise, right? For us, very important to use our network, to use our power, our influence, our voice to support other women-owned businesses, women-led businesses. So we're very happy to name those businesses, tag them, talk about them a little bit, and get the word out to our network. So posts like this go very well because people sharing it, they're engaging with it. And then just a few more examples before we get to the end of the slides and we can open for questions. Remaining top of mind again with your network. So when you see interesting content on LinkedIn, an interesting report, an article that you think is relevant for others in your network, whether those are your clients or just other people in your network, please tag them, right? So Letitia was working at UBS. She's at DBS now. She's moved over. She's a senior leader in the sustainability space. And this was just a really interesting resource that I thought that she'd like. So, tag her, and that's a great way to stay engaged. And here on the right, this was about an announcement of this woman who just received a new job at a university here in Australia, and she's a very senior leader in the online safety space. And so I hadn't met her before, but I thought great opportunity to reach out, congratulate her on the appointment, and hopefully, grow the network and make that connection. And so we had a lovely interaction, and she's out in the Bay Area in San Francisco, but she's familiar with our work because we do quite a bit of work in this space. So it was very nice to make that connection and to do it on the back of an announcement or an appointment of hers. So what are the key takeaways here? You guys all have very limited time and resources. So all of these suggestions that I've made, all of these can be done without hiring, a really experienced social media manager, without buying all the tools, without having, a Swish account. I've got a business premium account, but everything that I've mentioned, you can do without having that level of an account. So what are the key takeaways here? Really being clear on your objectives. Don't waste your time. LinkedIn is a fantastic platform, super easy to just get drawn in and to spend a lot of time. Before you engage, be clear about what you're doing in there. What do you want to do? And then write your plan. Write your plan, have your editorial calendar, and this can be super, super simple. Ours is just a really simple Excel spreadsheet that has a mix of the categories I mentioned and all of the ideas about what we can post and what the plan is going forward. Then publish and assess your content. So after you've done a series of your posts, go back and look at what worked well. And LinkedIn's got some good tools to help you with that analysis, but you can just take a look. And in our experience, when we're showcasing, individuals and spotlighting great achievements of either others in our network or people we've engaged with through the programs we've designed and delivered, like I mentioned, awards and certifications go really well. All of those things they play out really well. And engaging your stakeholders. So we always ask our team members to engage with the content. And, you want to give your stakeholders and customers good reason to do so. So you're specifically tagging them in the post. And then the personal and professional. So like I mentioned, you're using your personal profile to complement your corporate page or your company page. So you always want those things to be working together in tandem. And then enjoy it. So I got this piece of advice a very long time ago from a social media manager who said, whether you're using a social media manager or it's one of the team members who has this as part of their job description, give it to somebody who likes it. If you give it to someone who doesn't like it or doesn't really enjoy that channel, you're just not going to get the best out of it because they don't find it fun. So I love LinkedIn. I love connecting with people. I think it's a great platform, and so have a bit of fun with it. And that's it. So I know I went through that quite quickly, but wanted to make sure that we really spent that time getting through the deck and sharing different examples of the types of content that we've posted and what's gone well and how we approach it.
Thanks, Gillian. That was really good. I love the strategic approach you take to LinkedIn. I think sometimes we regard social media as just one of those many channels out there that's got lots of noise, and we kind of throw things at it when we've got a bit of time or a bit of interest. But I think you've demonstrated the value of taking a very strategic approach to a corporate page or a business page within LinkedIn, and then, as you said, also supporting that with personal comments and engagement. And what I took out of the value of your content was the quality of it. It's not just the standard AI responses that LinkedIn can generate, but you've put in thoughtful comments, engaging comments to individuals who you want to stay in touch with and really are looking to deepen those connections. So look, we do have a few minutes. If any of our guests who are joining us live would like to either post a question in the chat or raise their hand and come off mute and ask a question, we're absolutely happy to engage. I think one of the questions that a lot of us have, Gillian, is how much time should we dedicate to keeping our pages up to date?
Yeah, very good question. So I would say that cumulatively throughout the week, and there are peaks and valleys with this too, right? So at the moment, we are targeting to post twice a month. Sometimes it's more than that, but in general, it's around that amount from our corporate page. Then I am very engaged individually going into LinkedIn. So I would say that in general, we're spending collectively anywhere from 2 to 6 hours a week. Now, I would say that's 1.5 or 2 hours of creating content, getting posts ready, checking everything, getting that posted. But then individually, I spend a lot more time. So that's kind of a separate thing. But then, each quarter we will, review how posts are performing and then see, do we need to tweak something or do we need to do more of something?
Yeah, and I guess sometimes there are busier periods.
There are.
Yep.
Yeah, there are. And using an example of like the conference, Cheryl, right? So the We Connect conference in Brisbane. So you're taking photos while you're there. You're making sure you're getting the names of everyone who you're meeting because you've got this idea in mind that you want to showcase them afterwards. You make sure you're clear on what it is that they do. So that might have taken, for example, a little bit longer to do that post because it's all the photos and things like that. but it's absolutely worth it. So people love seeing pictures of people. So our people posts always do way better than like than image posts. So like even if we're doing B Corp certification, we couldn't pull it together with having all of our team like hold up like B Corp signs or something, but I know that would have done better than doing images, right? Like drawings or AI generated images. People love to see people. So anything that you can, yeah, anything you can do to have people in your posts always goes over well.
And I'd have to say the other observation from the content that you've shared is that authentic nature of it, both the images and the words.
Yeah.
That I'm not seeing AI generated images. I'm not seeing stock images. I'm seeing real people, real conferences, real work. And as we know, sometimes our photography can be of variable quality, but often that is that really genuine and authentic element that I think people like to see.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And I see some questions in the chat.
Yeah, I was
So
just gonna say there's some questions in the chat. Maybe I'll read them out. I think one is from Andrea who says, "What additional benefits do you feel you get from your business premium account?"
yes. So with that account, Andrea, I get to connect with a huge number of people if I want to maximize that benefit. I can't even remember how many direct mails I'm allowed to send, but it's a very large number. So again, I think that if someone was wanting to do that and really do a huge amount of time with that outreach, um, that it becomes very beneficial. But I have to say that the LinkedIn, the on-platform outreach must be complemented by in-person connections. So, what doesn't work is when I'm trying to, and this feeds into this next comment here that we have or question about, connecting with people. You really have to try to be connecting with people in person and then connecting with them on the platform. So I'd say that unlimited mail and those direct connections is a huge benefit for me of that business premium account, especially when I've blocked a lot of time or I'm coming after a conference or something like that, or there might be connections of connections who I want to reach out to and I don't want to be limited by the regular account.
The other question that we had was from one of our attendees who's a HR solution provider, and is asking the best way for them to connect to talent acquisition or HR managers because most of the time they don't respond.
Yes. I think that's a tough one, and it really is connected to the comment that I just made. It is hard to connect with people if you don't have someone making a warm introduction for you or a connection of a connection. So I do find that that's actually a super useful thing to do on LinkedIn, where you have those relationships to ask people if you see that they're connected to someone else. If you've got a relationship with the first person, to say, would you mind introducing me to this person over here at this company? And then you can set up a three-way chat, and usually you'll get an answer that way because they've already got a relationship with the first person. Of course, a percentage of the people that you reach out to are going to respond to you, but that's like, regular sales conversion rates, that when you're trying to do cold calls, you have a huge number of cold calls, and out of that 100%, maybe you get, 50% that don't respond, 25% that say, no, thanks, not right now, and another 20% that say, sure, let's have a call. And of that, you convert however many. It's hard. It's hard. But where you can maximize your existing network, I find that works really well. Hey, I see that you know this person over here. Would you help me out and make an introduction so I can just get a 15-minute intro call with them?
Yeah, I think also too the value that you said around thought leadership. If you're posting content and even sharing directly in the message function things that help to position you as a thought leader rather than a sales agent, you're more likely to get a positive response.
Yeah.
I just Jill, I have one more question. One of our attendees had to drop off, but she texted me a question. What are the biggest mistakes that you see people making that turn off followers, etc.?
Very good question. I would say, it's you want to be as positive as you can be, and not that anyone's posting negative things on LinkedIn about anyone or anything, but it's really about being solution focused, attracting what we can all do to take action on things to, for us, it's, of course, we do social impact. So really trying to be clear about the good things that can happen, being as positive as you can be. Um, I guess that's pretty obvious, but I do think it's interesting when there are difficult topics being discussed online that it can just, it's not that it's a mistake, it's just a very difficult environment to manage those kinds of conversations. So where I see difficult conversations being positioned as, we'd love to hear what works for you, we'd love to hear what you're doing, why this is good. It's a hard platform to be engaging in, in a challenging way, for example.
Well, on that positive note, we've run out of time today. Gillian, thank you so much for sharing your approach to LinkedIn, and thanks everyone for joining us for today's session. We will make the recording, and Gillian has very kindly agreed to share her slides, so we will post them to you by email, and hopefully we'll all connect with you on LinkedIn.
Great. Nice to see everyone. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining.